Hi, my name is Bente, I'm the Norse Witch, and in this week's video I want to talk to you about low energy witchcraft and paganism practices. Patron shoutout time! Thank you really much to Soren, Braden, Diego, Bethany, Hannah, Tell, Timothy, Bjorn, Scylla, Ash, Lucy and Joss. And now let's get into the video. So I feel pretty burned out at the moment, unfortunately. I'm working a lot and yeah, that just basically leaves me with a very low amount of energy for my pagan and witchcraft practices. I just don't really have the energy at the moment for these huge rituals or for huge spells or whatever. I will still do them from time to time if I feel like it, because I always feel like if I intuitively feel like performing a big ritual, then most of the time it gives me energy instead of just using up even more of my energy. But yeah, most of the time I don't feel like it. Most of the time I don't have the energy to perform huge rituals. But that doesn't mean that I can't practice at all. And I feel like, especially during times like these, where I have very little energy, where I feel pretty burned out, for me personally, it's really important to still stay connected to my paganism and witchcraft practice, because otherwise I could just completely fall off of it, and I just don't want that to happen. And also, most small practices mostly give me energy back, so even more reason to do them. And I know that there are probably a lot of people, and I know that there are a lot of people out there struggling with the same thing, just in general having maybe a lack of energy or a lack of time, but still wanting to practice. And there are a lot of reasons why you could lack energy, and I don't want to get into that because there are a lot of reasons and it doesn't really matter why you lack energy. But I thought if I struggle with it and I want to come up with some ideas for myself, then I can just also share them with you, because maybe they will be useful to you. So yeah, in this video I just want to share some accessible low energy ideas for your witchcraft and paganism practice. I want to give a little disclaimer though, for which activities you need a lot of energy will vary extremely from person to person. So some low energy activities for me might be activities that use up a lot of energy for you. These are again just my personal ideas for low energy activities. Maybe some of those might not apply to you. That is just completely normal, but that's why I also want to share some ideas from my community with you. I asked on Instagram and on YouTube for your ideas for small practices that don't really take up a lot of energy or time, so I will share those also in the end. Hi! And we have a little guest. The first thing that I really like to do if I don't have a lot of energy but I still want to maybe feel connected to the gods, maybe connect to land spirits, to my ancestors, or just to myself, or just to relax a little bit, is just meditation. Duh, if you have watched my videos for basically 5 minutes, you will know that I really love meditation. It's really, really important to me. I do it a lot. And even just 5 minutes of meditation personally give me a lot of energy. And I don't need a lot of energy to meditate, because I can basically just lie in bed and meditate. I don't have to stand up for it. I don't have to sit up for it. I don't have to do anything. I can meditate 5 minutes before I go to sleep even. And for me personally, that really helps. It gives me energy. It doesn't really use up any of my energy. So that is something that I would always recommend. Something else I personally really like to do is to revisit some basics. For example, visualization or shielding, something like that, something that you can easily do within like, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes, maybe within a meditation. That is also something you don't really have to move a lot for, you don't have to really, I was about to say you don't have to think a lot for that, but I guess visualizing is kind of a little mental strain, but still, for me personally, I feel like it doesn't really use up a lot of energy. and it's something that I can do really, really quickly, and it will be really helpful. Then of course, I always feel like affirmations are really great because not only do they only take up like 5 minutes of your time and not a lot of energy because you just have to sit in front of a mirror and talk to yourself, but also they could, in the end, help with your situation. So you could use specific affirmations to help with your low energy. Of course, that will depend highly on the reason why you're low on energy, but maybe you could even help yourself with these affirmations. Something that's especially great for tea or coffee lovers would be to stir intention into your tea or your coffee, but you could basically also do it with whatever beverage. You could even do it with beer or wine or Coke or whatever you want to drink. Stir some intention into it. You can also use bind runes maybe, or sigils, or elemental symbols, planetary symbols, whatever you like, really. Just stir it into your tea or your coffee. You could even maybe charge your beverage with the intention of giving you some energy, just energizing you. That also takes like 1 or 2 minutes. So I think personally, that's always a great idea. Then again, something that I do at the moment a lot is this simple thing. That's it. I have this new Thor's hammer necklace that I'm basically raving about because I got it when I was in Copenhagen with my sister at this really, really great Viking exhibition. They had a lot of like recreational pieces, and this one was one of the cheaper ones. They had great ones made from silver and gold and bronze, and this one is just made from tin, but I still love it. And it makes me feel extremely connected to my ancestors and to the gods. So whenever I feel like I want to connect, or I need some energy, I need some protection, whatever really, I just take this Thor's hammer into my hands and I instantly feel connected. That has become something that is so crucial to my day. I do it a lot. Mostly I even fall asleep like this, or yeah, just take it in my hand and rub it or something like that. Of course, you could do the same thing. You could get some kind of jewelry piece that makes you feel connected to your ancestors, your spirit guides, to your gods, to whatever, to your own spirituality, to your higher self, whatever, doesn't matter. But you could also make up your own really small habits. And it doesn't really matter what that is, as long as it connects you to something or it makes you feel magical. And it can be as simple as taking 5 minutes to sit in the sun, to like soak up some sun energy, or I don't know, petting your cat or your dog or your pet snake, whatever. It doesn't really matter, but find some habit that makes you feel connected. For me, that's such a crucial part of my day. Something that will of course instantly make you feel connected is spending some time with your maybe spirit guides, with your ancestors, with your gods, whatever. For me, that looks mostly like lighting my gods and my ancestors' candles and just sitting next to it, because I have this very comfy chair next to my altars. Just sitting next to my altars, watching the candles burn, just feeling the connection, and just maybe reading or drinking a tea or whatever. You don't have to do anything special to do that. Just sit next to your altars maybe and feel the connection. Light the candles, light some incense, whatever. Doesn't really have to be anything big. Something that makes me feel instantly connected and also magical, that always like re-sparks my interest in magic, the occult, in mythology, in paganism, is just reading. And I know this will be one of the things that will maybe be more energy consuming for some of you. For me personally, it gives me a lot of energy because I can basically just lie in bed and read. For me, it's not that hard to do, but I know that, for example, for people who may suffer from ADHD or something like that, that will consume more energy. But as I said, those are my personal ideas, and for me, it gives me energy. Something that could help is maybe just to reread books. Just read something that you have already read. Maybe even something that you have read right in the beginning of your practice. That could be really interesting to just reread it, to see what you still agree with and what you don't agree with. And if you do that, you don't have to focus that much on the book. I always feel like if I read a new book, then I have to focus a lot, and that could drain my energy a little bit. But if I just reread a book, or if I just read a book that isn't even a magic book or a paganism book, but I don't know, the Witcher series or Harry Potter or whatever, you could even read something that kind of correlates to magic, but isn't like a magic book, if you know what I mean. For me personally, that really works. Another idea that could maybe not work for you, but works for me every time, is to just take a walk, to connect with nature, to connect with the land spirits. That is something that always gives me so much energy, and I really try to just sometimes, at least sometimes, make the time to just designate a day for just a nature day. So for example, I recently quit work early to just go to the forest. I always have to drive there for like an hour to 1.5 hours. So that's mostly energy consuming, but it's always worth it, because then I just spend like 3 or 4 hours in the forest, and I will come home so rejuvenated and so energized and motivated. And it doesn't have to be a whole day to spend in nature. Of course, if you have a free day that you can spend in nature, great. But it can be as simple as going out into your garden or going out to a cemetery, for example. I have a cemetery next door, basically, that is pretty natural. It's basically a park. So that is somewhere I can go when I don't have that much time, but it still always gives me energy. But of course, that will maybe not be the case for you. So maybe that's just something that works for me. And something that actually doesn't take up any time is making your shower, your morning or your evening shower, a magical experience. You have to go shower either way, so you can also just use your shower time for some magic time. You could basically just visualize yourself being cleansed by the water or using your shampoo for cleansing, but you could also take some herbs and some crystals with you in the shower. The possibilities are basically endless. Of course, if you have a bathtub, you can also do it in the bathtub. I personally don't have a bathtub, so I can't take a bath, so showers it is for me. And lastly, something that I'm really looking forward to, and something that I have started like this weekend, is just spending time with my herb garden. Because I have replanted my herb garden now, finally. I unfortunately didn't have the time and the energy to do it on the spring equinox, but I was now finally able to do it. So I finally planted my herb garden. So I'm really looking forward to just spend 1 or 2 minutes just connecting to my little herbs and my little plants. I guess I could also do that just with my house plants. Something that always makes me feel connected to nature is to just repot my plants, for example. But it is something that takes up a lot of my energy mostly. It always feels great, but I need a lot of energy for that. So just basically taking 1 or 2 minutes to connect to my herb garden or to my houseplants, that is also something that I really like. But now let's get into the community's ideas for simple, low energy practices. Unfortunately, I don't have that many submissions yet, but well, I posted it like 1 or 2 hours ago, so what did I expect? But it was a spontaneous idea, so I will just read some of the ideas. Let's start with Instagram. Simply drinking tea in front of my altar while feeling the presence of ancestors and deities. Perfect. I love doing that. Sitting in the sun and recharging. Yes. If you have a balcony, for example, or a garden, that's perfect. A bath with herbs. I just wish I had a bathtub, really. I really wish. Yeah, taking a cleansing shower. Bath rituals. It's like I'm sitting in a big cauldron. I like that image. Taking a bath in a big cauldron. That's cute. And let's see. The YouTube submissions were a little bit longer, so light a candle or incense and take a short intentional break to be mindful. Not full meditation, but mindful and intentional. thank my guides for their continued help on my journey, and tell them that I am burning these things specifically as a small gesture for them. I finished the mindfulness few minutes of downtime with a reaffirmation of my commitment to my journey with them and the work we continue to do. English is hard. And the work we continue to do together. Often I will make a hot drink to enjoy for this downtime, like sitting down to tea with a friend. Oh, that's lovely. And the description is also lovely. And lastly, I just started my journey as a pagan, but I love to communicate with Loki through Spotify. How do you communicate with Loki through Spotify? If you see this, please tell me in the comments how you communicate through Spotify, because that is interesting. But I love to communicate with Loki through Spotify and have a fun time. Also watering my plants to energize my wards, or taking a shower, as cleansing is easy and low energy for me. Yeah, spending time with houseplants is really great. Apart from if you have like, I don't know how many plants I have at the moment, probably like 50 plus. At one point I had 100, like over 100 plants. And if you have that many plants, watering them is a chore, like a real chore that takes up a lot of energy. But I try to, yeah, just take more time for it and take more time for each individual plant. I have this one special plant that I always talk with, because I once connected to the deva of that plant, like the spirit of that plant, and it told me that it wants to be spoken to more. So I started speaking to it and it does great. So I really love doing that also. So yeah, those were the community's ideas. Thank you for your submissions. I guess the rest that I can't put in this video because I am now filming it, I will just, I don't know, if it's Instagram ones, I will just post them on Instagram probably. And yeah, that is all that I have for you for this video. I really hope that I could give you some ideas. I hope that there was something in there that you can use for your daily practice. And if you're struggling with low energy at the moment, hold on to the idea that spring is coming, summer is coming, because I personally always feel like I'm much more energized during spring and summer. So hold on to that idea. It will get better. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe and give a thumbs up, and maybe follow me on Instagram or check out my online shop, or maybe even consider becoming my patron. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!